Hey guys, Vamp here, bringing you a War Thunder video. This is actually my first War Thunder commentary. I know I threw up a few War Thunder videos already, and did not include commentary on those, but I did have some text messages, and hopefully, it was a little bit informative or just interesting to watch. But I definitely want to do videos with commentaries, and the reason I have not yet is because just been busy. Time wise, it's just really tough to sit down and do commentaries along with the videos. But I will do my best to have as many commentaries on my videos as possible, because I took a poll and that was overwhelmingly what everyone prefers. Well, I don't know if I'd say overwhelmingly, but for the most part, people definitely want to hear the commentaries. So let me quickly tell you what we're watching here. This is super old footage, and I apologize, but just again, I wanted to throw something up interesting, and this was incredible. It was April 1st, April Fool's joke, but not really a joke, really just an incredibly awesome surprise from Gaijin, the publisher of, or I guess I should say developer. I guess they're both, I don't know, but the company that makes War Thunder and runs the game. So they made these cool flying ponies, and in a few minutes you'll see the stats come up on the screen. I believe they modeled the ponies after one of the jets in War Thunder. I'm not sure if it's specifically what jet. So if you know, put that in the comments. But probably could be the MiG-9, or maybe like one of the smaller jets, possibly the HE-162 or the ME, one of the ME jets. But no matter, it's just a blast. It's so cool. It was just a great surprise, and had a lot of fun just flying around on the evening of the first. I was working during the day, so I just jumped in some servers in the evening. In the USA, in Virginia, outside Washington D.C. basically. So Eastern, right now it's Eastern Daylight Time, so Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so let me just, when the stats come up, I pause it so you can take a quick look. But basically, the ponies rather are max speed 955 kilometers an hour. The turn time 21 seconds, but it seems like it's way better than that. Rate of climb is just insane, 37 meters per second, and the armament is cool. Oh, here we go. So there's a Friend Mark III cannon with 4 of those, the Cracker-4 rockets, and the Hard Candy Bomb, 500 kilograms. So just really cool armaments, and the way they named them. So it was really neat. Alright, so as we watch the rest of this gameplay, what I want to talk about is basically my background and give you a little bit of that. I have a bunch of videos up, but a lot of them are super old. And you can see that I have played a few different... I play a lot of games actually, but I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not an expert in any particular one. I consider myself just an all-around PC gamer, and I enjoy a wide range. But what I want to let everyone know is my background as far as what I've been interested in the past, what kinds of systems and games I've played in the past. So for all you young guys, I see a lot of students and maybe college age guys and teenagers and 20s guys, and people in their 20s recording YouTube gameplays, which is awesome. It's so great. I'm an older guy. I have work full time, have a family, etc. So I definitely game as much as I'm able to, and I enjoy it a lot. But in terms of my background, I originally started with the console way back in the day with like the Atari 2600. So if any of you remember that, but it was a blast. It was just so amazing to when it first came out because it was just like no one had ever seen that before, and just everyone went crazy, and it was just so much fun. All the different games, and that was like the Xbox before there was Xbox. So pretty amazing having one of those growing up, and then I worked my way up. So I got into like the Commodore 64, if any of you guys remember that, and then I saved up and bought my own quote unquote personal computer, which was a 486 DX266, I believe. And right after I got that, the Pentiums came out and just blew that out of the water. So that was a little bit disappointing, but I had a good time, just playing all different games on those platforms. I remember I'm not a big simulation person. Like I've never done flight sims per se, but I did. I used to play on the Commodore this game called Gunship. If any of you remember that, feel free to let me know. But it was a blast. It was basically a helicopter flying game. I don't know if I'd go so far as to consider it a simulator, but um, I don't think most games back then were of a simulator caliber. But it was a blast. You fly this helicopter gunship around. I think it was the AH-64 Apache gunship, and I don't know if they had a few different other ones, but you flew it around and you engaged tanks, ground targets, and all different stuff. It was a lot of fun. So then when I transitioned to a personal computer, then I started playing things like I think this game was called Flight Commander, but I remember back in the day it came on floppy disks. And if any of you remember those days, there were the 5.25-inch floppy disks, which were like, hilarious now when you think about it, but it was state of the art back then. And then they had the smaller ones, which were encased in hard plastic, and then it had like a metal sliding door where the computer would slide that back and access the actual disk itself. Hold on, this round just ended, so not an incredible. I'm up there, on our team toward the top of the leaderboard, but really just challenging flying these ponies. They go so fast and turn so sharply, and everyone has basically the same plane, the same pony, so you don't really have an advantage, and you just have to zoom around and do your best to try and knock people out of the sky. So it definitely was a challenge, and was a lot of fun. And you can see when I crash or when you get hit or you knock someone else out that they burst into this candy dust or pixie dust or whatever, pony dust, and it really looks cool. So it was there you go, right there. I couldn't because I couldn't hold that turn. I was badly damaged, so jumping into another pony. But back to the personal computer and the different games. So this game Flight Commander came on like 10, or I don't know how many, just all these floppy disks. They were the 3.5-inch, which were the smaller ones, and you had to install it, and it'd tell you to swap out the discs. So it took like who knows how long, an hour, just to take all these discs out and install this game. But it was basically it was a pretty heavy duty flight game. Again, I don't know if it was considered a simulator back then, but it was amazing. And you just flew out and did missions, and you could team up with your friends. I think back then we would actually connect online with like a modem, like a 56 baud K 56K modem, or I guess it was later 120, or first it was like 14.4 28.8, and then 5600s, and then later I guess 128K. So just incredible how far technology has come in not that long of a time, and the costs have come way down too. I remember personal computers used to just be literally thousands and thousands of dollars for computers today that were just a fraction of the speed of today's computers. A laptop of today is just literally I don't know, 100 times or 1,000 times faster. You'd have to do the math, but it's just unbelievable how expensive the technology was, because it wasn't mainstream in terms of the uh, the production of the hardware itself, and obviously the cost to build it and to manufacture it. And it's just incredible how that's changed, and obviously that's great for people that are computer people, IT people, or just enthusiasts that enjoy technology. So I used to play that one, and then F-16, like F-15 Strike Eagle rather, and then F-16 Falcon, and then I think that became Falcon 5.0. I remember it had this huge silver box. It was like a giant dictionary size box, and just again a ton of discs, or maybe by that time it was CDs, I forget. And then I started playing a new gunship. I guess it was the old one, but they redid it, so it was Gunship 2000, and that was really awesome. I love those gunship games back in the day. And then later, when I upgraded my computer and got a faster one, then there were like the Nova Logic games, like Comanche, which was a helicopter one, Armored Fist, if anyone remembers that, and that was a tank one. And it was a blast. I love that game, Armored Fist, and so those are basically the games that I would consider like flight games and war first person, like tank games and stuff like that. Just to let everyone know, I don't play World of Tanks. I'm sorry, but I like tank games, I do, but I just haven't gotten into it, and I'm afraid that if I do, it'll just suck up so much of my time. But I'm really enjoying War Thunder, so I'm just going to focus on that. As well as I do play first-person shooters. So you've seen on my channel, if you watch any of my older videos, Battlefield 3. So that's a lot of fun for me. And when I was younger, I again grew up playing all those games. We played Counter-Strike like crazy way back in the day. And it was interesting. I was actually, friends of mine started a internet cafe, but it was more focused on gaming. So it was like an internet gaming center, and this was out in Laurel, Maryland. So if anyone's in the DC area, they'll know where that is. It's basically between Washington DC and Baltimore. And so I used to go out there and help them, and work, and also just hang out and play games, which was cool. But there were 16, they had 16 computers networked up, and we'd play all kinds of different games, mainly, mostly shooters and those types of games. But Counter-Strike was one of the big ones, and we just had a blast playing that. And then they had back then it was the big screen TVs weren't like LCD or LED like they are now, but they were like the big rear projection, big screens, and they look pretty good. They were fine. But we had one of those huge ones and some couches set up, and then they had a Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, if people remember that, give a shout out to the Sega Dreamcast. It was an incredible system, but Sony, I think, just knocked them out of the water. So Sony PlayStation, the first one. And then obviously, I think was there PlayStation 2? Yeah, and then of course now, PlayStation 3. So there you go. But the Sega Dreamcast and then the PlayStation, I guess back then it was the first one. I don't know if the second one had come out or was just coming out. But we played like some games on there, and one of the big sports ones that I played a lot was NHL hockey, and I think it was 98 back then. NHL Hockey 98 I think that was on the PlayStation. And we had a blast. It was so much fun. I'm not even, I like hockey, but it's not like my favorite sport. But I love the video game. I don't know why. I used to like Detroit Red Wings because they were like one of the best teams on there. But also being from DC, I played the Washington Capitals. So it was kind of neat. And, and so Bondra and Oates and all those guys on the Caps, Ole the goalie, and so you had all those players. But it was fun. we played first-person shooters and then some role-playing games and some of the Icewind Dale and a few other ones, and then obviously Counter-Strike and all those games. So then after that, I transitioned into like all the Call of Duty games, and the mods that went along with those different games. There was like Day of Defeat. I played, of course, Doom and all that stuff, but and then some the Half-Life and the Half-Life mods, and then Quake, of course, Quake. What was it? Ended up being Quake 3, Quake 4, and then transition into the Battlefield series, Battlefield 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and then Battlefield 3. So that's basically it. And then of course I did play the Medal of Honor games as well. I shouldn't but I've always been more of a Battlefield guy as far as the shooters go. That's my first. That's my preference in terms of those shooter games. And it's not to say, I mean, I don't dislike the Black Ops games or anything. I have the first one, but I haven't gotten the second one. Again, just not a ton of time. But all right, so that's a little bit about me, and I'll get into more stuff in future commentaries. But I just wanted to kind of give everyone a little bit of an overview, and let me know what kinds of videos you want to see with War Thunder. I do have some more already done, and I think some commentaries, so I'll be throwing those up. And my goal, honestly, is to have a new video up every few days. I'm not, unfortunately, one of the guys that can put up a video a day. I don't think, but I'm going to do my best to put out more videos, and try and I'm not a real big World War II buff in terms of, I mean, it's interesting stuff and I like history, but I'm not a flight sim person, so I don't know all the stats of all the planes and the historical stuff. But I will check into some of that, and try and give everyone as much information when I do these commentaries as possible. All right, so there you go. The Ponies, thank you, Gaijin. Awesome April Fools, even though I'm a month late. But all right, guys, thanks. See you next time.